If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Welcome to this video where I'm going to explain you one of the many steps that we should take to make our websites a safe place for our visitors and ourselves. My name is Naun Gizar, and we'll start the video with a review of what web security is. Web security is also known as cybersecurity. It basically means protecting a website or web application by detecting, preventing, and responding to cyber threats. Cybersecurity is responsible for creating methods, procedures, and standards that manage to identify and eliminate vulnerabilities in information and physical equipment such as computers. This type of security has database files and equipment that prevent important information from falling into the hands of the wrong people. Some of the things that the cybercriminals seek to achieve through the internet are information theft, damage to the information, attacks on systems or equipment, identity fraud, sale of personal data, and money theft. Cybercriminals use many ways to attack a victim online, such as malware, with which they manage to compromise systems and alter the operation of electronic devices. So the question today is, how to make a website safe? There are many different methods which we can help make our website a safe place against cyber attacks. As you can see here, some of them are: install a security certificate, protect your page with a web application firewall, use a web scanner, update the software frequently, use strong passwords, limit user access and permissions on your website, change the presets of your CMS, and make backup copies of your website. Today we're only going to focus on one of these 8 subjects, and that's the first one, and one of the most important, and it's your first filter to your website being more safe: a security certificate. Electronic espionage and malicious use of information are problems faced by both international authorities and customers. This is why internet security has become a priority for companies. Digitization not only takes place in the private sphere, but within the world of work. More and more companies use online research to operate their business. SSL, TLS, and HTTPS are the security standards used today to ensure the transfer and management of internal corporate information, customer data, and any type of sensitive information. But what exactly does this acronym mean, and how can these security protocols be implemented on a web page? Let's see it. What is SSL? TLS? The acronym SSL, Secure Socket Layers, designates a technology used to encrypt and verify data traffic on the internet. Applying on web pages, it ensures communication between the browser and the web server. In particular, in the context of e-commerce and online banking, where numerous sensitive and confidential data are exchanged, it is essential to implement an SSL or TSL, Transport Layer Security Certificate. It's nothing else than just the successor or the enhanced version of an SSL. The data that is usually protected with an SSL TLS encryption protocol are, among others, data records, name, address, email address, telephone number. Data access, email, address, and password. Bank information, credit card number, bank account. Forms, and documents that customers have uploaded. The SSL TLS certificate guarantees that communication cannot be read or manipulated and that personal information will not fall into the wrong hands. But how does exactly the SSL TLS work? An example: a client wants to communicate with the company through the web. If the company has an SSL certificate, this information will be received by the client, and in turn will automatically generate two keys. The first one called a public key encryption, and the second one a symmetric key encryption with a very large number of digits. The symmetric key is encrypted by the public key, and it will be sent to the server, in which with their own key they will be able to decrypt the symmetric key in order to have a communication channel where the message that are exchanged will be encrypted, since both points have the same symmetric key encryption that enables this bridge. As you can see here, these are the keys that will help us to exchange the information with our clients as a website, or as a client have the security and confidence that our information will not fall into the wrong hands. So as a reminder, what is HTTP, HTTPS? A hypertext transfer protocol is a protocol used to transmit data over networks. HTTP is generally a set technical standards that defines how a web client communicates with a server so that the data requested by the client can be loaded and displayed. With the acronym HTTPS, it is called the Protocol for the Secure Transfer of Information. The HTTP will be the insecure version. In HTTP pages, an hacker could, in theory, read or modify all the data that is sent, and the user will not be completely sure, for example, if he actually sent his credit card information to the online store or a hacker. Instead, HTTPS sends the data already encrypted and verifies the request. This is done by means of an SSL or TLS certificate. Today, experts already recommend using TLS exclusively. Although the SSL protocol is named, it is often referred to as TLS. And as I mentioned before, a TLS is only an upgraded version of the SSL. And how do we verify that our website has an SSL TLS certificate? Well, as you can see in this video, I have my own browser open. So if we go to any web page, as maybe a web page that sells things, like this one, we can see here that at first sight it doesn't have the HTTPS, but on the left side there's a padlock. But if we click on our browser, it will show us that it does have the HTTPS protocol that requires a web page like this, where our data can be safe. But in a case that's, suppose we don't have access to the HTTPS at first sight, we can go to the left part of the browser where the padlock is. And we can see that it says a little message, view site information. If we click on it, we're going to show us that this little window that said connection is secure and show connection details. If we click on it, it will show us connection is secure, for example, password or credit card numbers. As we said before, this is what a certificate means to us. And this is the important part. Certificate is valid. Here's in Spanish, but this is a very important part. Who is in charge of this certificate? DigitCerter. Global CAG2 is the name of the certificate that provide to this web page, and its valid date is from April 18 of 2021 until March 23, 2022. This is how we're gonna know that this web page, it does have certificate as it should be, because it's one of the most important ones in around the world, and will help us to be sure that all of our confidential and personal information will be saved. Advantage of using SSL TLS protocols: very simple. Privacy and security for customers and partners. Reduction of the risk of theft and misuse of data and information. Positive impact on Google ranking factors. Users easily identify the certificate and they will trust in it. How to acquire an SSL certificate or TLS certificate? The certification authority that grants them is in charge of examining the identity and guarantees the veracity of the information. SSL or TLS certificates are stored on the server and requested each time a user visits an HTTPS web page. There are different types of certificates, such as Domain Validate Certificate, free and paid. These are the certificates with the most basic level of authentication. For this certificate, the certification authority verifies only if the applicant is the owner of the domain he wants to certify. Company information is not verified, which involves certain risk. This makes the authentication process time-consuming, so it is used quickly and is the cheapest of the three types of SSL certificates, sometimes even completely free. This type of certificate is suitable for web pages where the credibility and trust of users play a secondary role and there is no risk of phishing. Organization Validate Certificate, paid. This type of authentication is broader and, therefore, more secure than a domain valuation certificate. In addition to verify ownership of the domain, the certification authority verifies relevant corporate information, such as, for example, its registration in the Commerce Registry. Once verified, such data is visible to web visitors, increasing their trust in the site and in the company. As a consequence of the validate information process, the certificate is much more expensive than the domain one, but it offers a higher level of security. This certificate is suitable for web pages where transactions are carried out that involve the exchange of non-sensitive data. Extended Validation Certificates. Paid. This is the certificate that offers the highest level of authentication. In contrast to the Company Validation Certificate, in this, the company information is analyzed in detail based on the strict award criteria. This certificate can only be granted by authorized CAs. This exhaustive examination of the company guarantees the highest level of security and strengthens the credibility of the page. As a consequence, it is the most expensive of all. This certificate is suitable for web pages that collect, for example, bank account or credit card data, as well as other types of sensitive information. Installation and configuration. In the next step, the SSL certificate is installed on the server. Many web hosting service providers take care of this for their clients. It can usually be requested in the customer section, and the provider takes care of the rest. The installation will change depending on the supplier, but in general, the certifying suppliers make the corresponding instructions for installation available to the user. Whether the protocol runs smoothly will depend mainly on three aspects: choosing the appropriate certificate, correct encryption, and proper configuration on the server. Just to be clear on what we said today, it is important to have a web security certificate on our web pages to be able to guarantee users who visit it that the confidential information that is required at some point in a process they are carrying out will not be compromised by third parties, thanks to the fact that our website has the certificate and the protocol necessary to encrypt that information that will be exchanged. Now we can go to the question and answer section. Do we have any question?
Yes, I have one. Which certification authority will you recommend?
I cannot recommend you a specific one because there are several on the internet with a good authentication process. The only thing that I can recommend you is that you check very well what will you need to your website, and on base of that, you can start looking on the internet the CA that best suit what you're looking for. And if you need any help, feel free to contact me and we can work on it. Any more questions? If you do not have any other question, let me thank you for listening to this video about security certificate, and I hope that you enjoy it and you do not have any doubt of it. Hope to see you on the next video. It was my pleasure.